Please be seated. These readings took me back to a time when I was actually preaching on them as a seminarian. And I was at the Church of Scotland in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was a small little church. All of them were elderly. And there was one person in particular that, without missing a beat, fell asleep during every service. Sometimes even snored. And so I came across, I was reading this passage, and I just decided when I got to the word, I would say, "Awake!" And she, anyway, I think God's been getting even with me ever since I did that. This gospel is disturbing. The lesson of Jesus initially seems very negative, doesn't it? It lifts up images of unexpected loss and suffering, even compares the emergence of God in our future as an unexpected guest, even a thief in the night. And while whetting our appetite in a way that makes us long to know details about how and when the future will surprise us, he clearly teaches that such knowledge is out of our grasp. Bottom line, don't expect the future to be the source of comfort or healing or joy. The future is uncertain, a moving target, often, maybe even mostly, a source of anxiety. Can't we all agree that the future is not our go-to source for comfort? Think about it. You say, "I really need some comfort. I think I'll think about the future." Isn't that why we wake up at 2 a.m.? And we're not exactly, saying, "Oh, this is so wonderful. I'm thinking about the next day, the next week, the next decade." Wherever our mind goes, the future is not there for us. The passage is bothersome until you discover its spiritual purpose and its spiritual secrets that reside within it. Most of the sermon's purpose is to expose the future as something that is unworthy, an unworthy source for what we long for. It's not there for us. The future cannot quench our deep thirst for joy, love, or peace. But Jesus does not leave us with that thought alone, but goes on to call us to wakefulness, mindfulness, a clear call to not sleep through the present moment, the present day, those present to us in this place right now. He says, "Stay awake." And Romans goes on to put it this way: you know what time it is, how it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. For salvation is nearer to us now than when we became believers. The night is far gone, the day is near. So clearly the disciples were concerned about their future. What would come of this new teaching they were hearing, and more relevantly, what would become of them? But Jesus constantly taught that focusing on the future gets us in trouble. For one thing, we can't know it or control it. Jesus simply points this out. Things will happen we are not ready for. Our joy, our strength, our leading is found in the present moment, and that means that we cannot let thoughts about the future distract us from the riches that are right in front of us, because that's what the future does to us. We're on to the next thing. All of his teaching taught us this. Let tomorrow worry about itself. Be anxious for nothing. Consider the birds and the lilies of the fields that toil not. For God gives them everything they need to be free and beautiful and fully alive. So how can we ignore or rid ourselves of the screaming voice of the future that tends to inspire all of our worst fears? How do we wake up and be now? See what is right in front of you and welcome it with joy. Exercise the muscle of gratitude. Exercise the muscle of appreciation, which will overpower fears about the future and also help us welcome a better future than the one that will appear if we anticipate negativity. We think about that. The more negativity we hold within ourselves, the future inspires that kind of negativity or doubt, we will actually make room for a very negative future. Whereas gratitude opens up a different door for us. Even these images of people being separated or taken away, I think are an agitation that we should be present to the amazing people we still have in our lives. Those who are right here, right now. John Dwyer, who often fills in for me, you all know, has this wonderful blessing he likes to do at the end of the service. It's actually comes from Henri Frédéric Amiel. It says, "Life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who make the journey with us. So, be swift to love, and make haste to be kind. And the blessing of God who made us, who loves us, and who travels with us, be with you now and forever." Staying awake, at least for me, requires not just leaving our anxiety or fear behind, but replacing it with thanksgiving and gratitude. If Jesus calls us to let go of the future and our fear-inspired hunger to control it, he also calls us to take up a new focus on the present moment by practicing and noticing it all in its splendor. Picture, if you will, your spiritual body. What does it look like? How big are your fear muscles? Do you exercise them every day? If so, you probably have incredible biceps and abs. You might be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of fear and anxiety. Think about it. How many times a day does a fear or an anxiety approach you and you practice it? You think about that negativity. You water that seed of negativity. How big are those muscles right now? Now, ask yourselves, how big are your gratitude muscles? How often do you exercise those? Because I think we actually fall short in our understanding of gratitude and thanksgiving. We think that gratitude and thanksgiving come when everything turns out wonderful. And we tend to wait to be grateful until everything is fitting together perfectly, which would be never. And we don't see gratitude as a force, as a power that we have to truly transform our lives on a day-to-day basis. We shouldn't be waiting for a time when, things will work out. When I get through this, there's a future beckoning us again. Someday, I'm going to make it. But Jesus says, the future is not worthy of your soul. The future does not hold your soul. Your soul is right now, present to you, to me, to everybody in this room, and most of all, to God. You know, the day of Thanksgiving itself was proclaimed for all states by Abraham Lincoln in 1863. It was during a civil war, a dire time, filled with profound suffering and division in our country. You think we have it bad now? No, people in the past could be grateful, but not us now. Gratitude, thanksgiving, should be seen as a force, as a powerful force. It should be your superpower. You chose a superpower. My superpower is gratitude. I'm going to be grateful for everything in my life, grateful for the people that surround me. I'm going to count the number of times I say, thank you. You know the power of that. You're in the store. The other day I was in the store, and this man was packing everything so perfectly. You know, heavy things on the bottom. He was going to get it all in my environmentally friendly bag, which I always go buy way too much, you know, when I have just one bag. And I just noticed it, and I thanked him. I said, that's like an art. You're an artist. And he lit up. That was an opportunity. That was like a moment to bring power, the power of love and appreciation into someone's life. And how often do I practice it? You know, I'm already thinking about, is my parking meter gone? You know, I mean, is it whatever is going on in my life? To be present is an amazing power to know that you have. Let me tell you what is about to happen in this room in a couple of minutes. During our meditation time, I'm going to ask you to practice gratitude, to fix your minds upon something or someone that you're really grateful for. Because what's going to happen is the cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, according to scientists, physicians, sociologists, and psychologists, is going to drop by 23% in this room when we do that. The practice of gratitude before bed actually improves your sleep as much as 40%. Your heart rate variability and blood pressure will decrease significantly. And one study focused on undergraduate students. The practice of gratitude led to a 36% increase in exercise. You wonder what keeps you from the gym? Lack of gratitude. It leads to better health. It leads to an emergence of optimism, which is connected to increased immunity. The practice of gratitude can help in the recovery of trauma, lower our focus on negative emotions like resentment, anger, and regret, and lowers the risk of major depression. It produces empathy and improves self-esteem. Now let me ask you, if you saw an ad for a medication that has these side effects, you wouldn't even care what the pill did. I'll take the side effects. But gratitude is not a pill. It's a spiritual practice, a discipline that Jesus knew his disciples needed to move forward with their lives, witnessing not to doctrine or theology, but to joy. The spiritual practice of gratitude is powerful and draws us into the present, and what better time to practice it than Thanksgiving weekend. Let's take a minute or so and just focus on what we're grateful for.